You turn a tap, and clean, safe water pours out. Instantly. You can drink it without a second thought. It feels completely ordinary. But that simple glass of water is the end of an enormous journey. A journey through one of the most important systems humans have ever built. That water started out in a lake, a river, or deep underground. And in its natural state, it was almost certainly not safe to drink. It could have carried dirt, chemicals, and invisible germs that cause deadly disease. So how does water go from a muddy river to a clean, safe glass in your kitchen? And how does it arrive the very instant you want it, day or night? Let us follow the journey, drop by drop. The journey begins at the source. Most of our water comes from two places: surface water, like rivers, lakes, and reservoirs, and groundwater, stored deep beneath the ground. Cities often store huge amounts of water in reservoirs. These are giant man-made lakes held back by dams. They keep a steady supply ready, even through dry seasons. Other places pull water up from deep underground. Rain slowly soaks into the earth over many years, collecting in natural layers of rock and sand. Wells reach down and pump this water back to the surface. From the source, the raw water is carried through huge pipes toward a water treatment plant. This is where the real transformation happens. Because right now, this water is still far from safe to drink. It may look clear, but it can be full of tiny particles, bacteria, and other things that could make you very sick. The treatment plant has one job: turn this raw water into water you can trust. And it has to do this on a massive scale, cleaning enough water for millions of people without ever stopping. Every hour of every day, the water keeps flowing in and clean water keeps flowing out. The first step is simple. Remove the big stuff. The water passes through screens that catch leaves, sticks, fish, and large debris. Next comes a clever trick for the tiny particles. The plant adds special substances to the water. These make the tiny bits of dirt stick together, forming larger clumps. This step is called coagulation. Those clumps are now heavy, so the water flows into large, calm tanks. There, the heavy clumps slowly sink to the bottom, leaving clearer water above. This is called sedimentation. But the water is still not perfectly clean, so it flows down through deep beds of sand and gravel. These layers act like a fine filter. They trap the smaller particles that are left, and the water that comes out the bottom is remarkably clear. At this point, the water looks clean, but looks can be dangerous, because the most serious threat is something you cannot see at all. The real danger in water is not dirt. It is germs. Bacteria and viruses, far too small to see, that can cause deadly diseases. Throughout history, unclean water killed more people than almost anything else. So the plant does one more vital step: disinfection. A carefully controlled amount of a disinfectant, usually chlorine, is added to the water. This kills the germs that are left, making the water safe to drink. And here is the clever part. A tiny, safe trace of that disinfectant stays in the water. It keeps protecting the water on its long journey through the pipes, all the way to your home. Some plants add other things too. In many places, a small amount of fluoride is added to help protect people's teeth. The water is tested constantly, around the clock, to make sure it is always safe. Scientists take samples again and again, checking for anything harmful. If even a tiny problem appears, they can catch it fast. This constant testing is the reason you can drink from the tap without ever thinking about it. It is quiet, invisible work that protects millions of people every single day. Now, the water is clean, but how does it get to your home and arrive with enough force to fill a glass in seconds? The answer is pressure, and often the secret is height. Look around many towns and you will see water towers. These hold huge amounts of water high up in the air. Because the water is so high, gravity pulls it down with great force. That force is the pressure in your pipes. Where there are no towers, powerful pumps do the same job. They push the water through the network, keeping it under constant pressure. This is why water rushes out the moment you open the tap. Beneath your streets runs a hidden network of pipes called water mains. They branch out again and again, from huge main lines down to the smaller pipe that finally reaches your home. That pipe passes through a meter, which measures how much you use. Then it feeds every tap, shower, and appliance in your home. Because the whole system is always kept under pressure, the water is always there, waiting the instant you need it. But the story does not end when you use the water. Every drop that goes down your drain begins a second journey, just as important as the first. Used water, called wastewater, flows into a separate network of pipes. This carries it away from your home, toward a wastewater treatment plant. Here, the dirty water is cleaned in stages. Solids are removed and settled out. Then something surprising happens. Tiny, helpful microbes are used to eat away the remaining waste, cleaning the water naturally. After more cleaning, the water is safe enough to be returned to nature. It flows back into rivers and the sea. From there, it can evaporate, form clouds, fall as rain, and one day begin the whole journey all over again. In a way, we never really own the water. We only borrow it for a while. The same water has been cycling through the planet for millions of years. The water you drink today may have once flowed in an ancient river long before any city existed. Step back and think about the scale. A single city can use billions of liters of water every single day. All of it collected, cleaned, tested, and delivered, and then collected again and cleaned again. Beneath your feet is a hidden world of pipes, pumps, and tanks, working every second without stopping. Most people never think about it, not even once. So the next time you fill a glass, remember the journey. From a distant river, through cleaning and testing, pushed by gravity and pumps, all the way to your hand. Clean water on demand is one of the greatest achievements in human history. And we treat it like nothing at all. Think about this. For most of human history, clean water on demand did not exist. People walked for hours to carry it, and many became sick from what they drank. Today, it waits behind every tap, safe and ready. It is easy to forget how rare and precious that really is. From planes in the dark, to submarines in the deep, to a station in orbit, to ships on the sea, to power in your walls, and now to the water in your tap. Each one is an invisible system, quietly keeping our world alive. And here is a final thought. We have followed water, power, and cargo across the world. But what about something even faster? When you watch a video on your phone, how does it travel across the entire planet and reach you in an instant? That is coming next on System Logic. If you learned something new today, subscribe, because the world is full of invisible systems, and we are just getting started.